Welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a deep dive into a watch that doesn't just tell time. It challenges how we expect time to be told. This is the Miguel Orbiter Automatic Limited Edition, and this is a watch that exists because a small company decided to take a real risk and break the mold rather than play it safe. At first glance, the Orbiter is wild. There's no other way to put it. This is not a watch designed to quietly slip under a cuff or politely blend into a collection of steel sports watches. It's bold, unconventional, and apologetically expressive. And honestly, that's exactly why I admire it. When smaller brands take a risk like this, wrist and design and time display and an overall personality, it pushes the entire industry forward. Even if the watch isn't for everyone, the courage to try something new, different, deserves recognition. Let's get into the specs. The case is crafted from solid stainless steel, giving the watch a confident, industrial feel that matches its design language perfectly. On the scale, the watch weighs in at 170 grams, which immediately lets you know this is a substantial piece. Dimensionally, this watch is unapologetically large. The case measures 50 millimeters in diameter with an expansive 58 millimeters lug to lug and towering 20 millimeter thickness. Those numbers absolutely translate on the wrist and help explain why this watch has such a commanding presence. Powering the Orbiter is the Miyota 9039 automatic caliber that can be seen through the display caseback. If you're deep into watches, you already know this movement well. It's a no-date variant running at 28,800 vibrations per hour with hacking and unwinding. It has built a well-earned reputation for being extremely reliable, accurate, and durable. Brands across the industry rely on this caliber when they want a dependable mechanical foundation without unnecessary fuss. What makes this especially impressive is that they're using this caliber to drive such an unconventional time display. It immediately brings to mind what Mad watches achieve, taking a traditional mechanical heart and presenting time in a completely non-traditional way. That contrast between mechanical reliability and creative freedom is part of what makes this watch so compelling. The dial is where this watch truly comes alive. Time is displayed in a very unique orbital style layout that instantly draws you in. It's engaging, playful, and forces you to slow down and interact with the watch. Once you get the hang of it, it becomes intuitive, but that initial learning curve is part of the charm. Hovering above it all is a beautiful dome sapphire crystal which adds depth and distortion at the edges in the best possible way. It gives the dial a sense of motion and dimensionality, almost like you're looking into a miniature mechanical universe. Then there's the Lume, and wow, this Lume is genuinely amazing. This is the kind of Lume that doesn't just glow, it blasts. It's incredibly bright, long-lasting, and honestly puts a smile on your face every time you step into a dark room. It's playful, dramatic, and perfectly aligned with the Orbiter's personality. This Lume is done right. From a construction standpoint, the Orbiter feels solid and thoughtfully executed. The water resistance is rated to 50 meters, and I think that's plenty for a watch that looks this well and expressive. Personally, I still feel that 100 meters is a sweet spot for modern sports watches, but for something this design forward, 50 meters feels realistic and appropriate. This model is offered in multiple colorways, which is great to see, and each version brings a distinct different vibe. Every model is limited to just 100 pieces, reinforcing that this is not a mass-produced watch. At a price of $1,090, it sits in a very interesting space, not entry level, but also not out of reach for collectors who want something genuinely different. When you factor in the limited production, the unique display, and the proven mechanical platform, the value proposition starts to make a lot of sense. Now let's talk about the wrist presence because it matters here. On my 6 7/8 inch wrist, the Orbiter wears, well, massive. There's no way around it. Between the 50 millimeter case, the 58 millimeter lug to lug, and the 20 millimeter thickness, and of course that weight of 170 grams, it absolutely dominates the wrist. While I love the concept, the dial, and the execution, I personally wouldn't be able to pull this off long term. And that's okay, not every watch needs to fit every wrist. Still, I genuinely believe that bringing the size down in future versions would dramatically expand the appeal without sacrificing the watch's bold identity. The integrated style rubber strap deserves praise. It's supple, comfortable, and pairs perfectly with the case design. It feels intentional, not like an afterthought. The anodized buckle is a subtle but welcome detail that matches the crown and ties in the whole package. Now, stepping back and looking at the Orbiter as a whole, I think the company absolutely succeeded in what they set out to do. The construction is solid, the design is fearless, the lume is outstanding, and the movement choice is smart and reliable. Most importantly, this watch tells time in a way that feels fresh and exciting, something that's increasingly rare in a very traditional industry. Yes, the size is the biggest drawback for me personally, and I love to see a more compact version down the line, but even with that critique, I can't help but admire the ambition behind this watch. This is what happens when a smaller brand takes real risk, and that's something worth celebrating. Thank you all so much for watching. I've got 2 more Nubeo watches coming in for review, so make sure you're subscribed and stay tuned. Until next time, be safe out there and stay humble.